Okay, so I'm back with part 2. So for charge-offs, for those of you who want the short answer on how to remove charge-offs, you notice an error, submit a factual dispute to the credit bureaus. It was added in error. You file a dispute with the credit bureaus and alert both the credit bureaus and the creditor that is reporting the account. It was due to identity theft. You want to file an FTC complaint. You want to forward a copy to both the creditor and the credit bureaus. It's been 7 years from the original date of delinquency. If the account is still reporting after the 7 years that it should have been falling off your credit report, you just want to write a letter to the bureaus and let them know that, hey, this debt was supposed to fall off on June 2020 and it's still reporting. It's past the 7-year mark. Please remove immediately. You negotiate a settlement with the lender or debt collector, whoever owns the debt. You want to send them a pay for deletion letter. When you send this letter, you want to make sure that if they do confirm or agree to delete, that you get this in writing before you submit your payment, however you do so. And if you do pay, I would recommend that you get a prepaid card or just submit a money order, however, their preferences are, whether that's money order or 9 times out of 10 money order or a debit card. Now, in the meantime, when you are disputing this charge off, you also want to be rebuilding your credit as well, which is having an active credit card, keeping the utilization low, making sure you're making on-time payments, maybe have a short-term loan or credit builder loan like self-reporting to your credit report each month to just build up your credit profile while you're actually in the repairing stages. And that, my friends, is the short answer. Now, if you want a more thorough explanation, because you're one of the people who like to take notes and you're not just wanting to click through the video, like you actually want a more thorough explanation, just keep watching the video and I will most definitely get that information to you. All right, my short attention span friends, peace in the middle, motherfucking east. Okay, so if you have a charge off on your account, I just want to give you like some tips or just some things that you need to know about charge-offs. Maybe you want to start a credit repair business or you're actively repairing your credit. These are just some things to know. And I probably may not know everything, but I'm going to tell you the things that I've learned just by books that I'm reading. All right, now let's get started talking about charge-offs. So charge-off means the creditor has written off your account as a loss. And they just basically have written it off because they don't believe that you are going to pay the debt. Charge-offs can remain on your credit for up to 7 years. An account charging off does not relieve you of the debt. I know a lot of people get it confused. They think that charge-offs should automatically report a zero balance, even though you have not paid the balance because the account has charged off, and that's not true. The only reason a charge-off account from the original creditor should report a zero balance is if the debt has been sold and now the collection agency is also appearing on your credit report because both companies cannot collect on the debt. All right. Now, an account charging off, I just said that. You may be able to negotiate the debt with the creditor for removal. Takes about 6 months before it actually starts reporting as a charge off, which is 180 days. Depending on which credit bureaus the creditor reports to, a charge off could only show on one credit report, or it may be on all 3 of your credit reports. That would be the reason why you only see certain accounts on certain credit reports, because they don't always report to all 3 bureaus. It's possible that your score could lower in the event that you do get the account removed, depending on how old the account is. You could be sued if you attempt to dispute this account within the statute of limitations. So always know that prior to sending in your dispute is your state statute of limitations. And this would be the state that you actually got the debt in. So if you lived in Louisiana when this account charged off, and you now live in Texas, your statute of limitations will go off Louisiana statute of limitations. Also, if you happen to call these companies and feel like, okay, I just want to call and get it over with, but at the same time, you are now actually learning about credit repair, and you make the mistake of calling and admitting to the debt or entering into a payment agreement, maybe you're actively in a payment agreement, you cannot get out of something that you just got into. Like if you're in a payment agreement with the company now, you can't stop that to dispute now that you know that you should have gotten a pay for deletion, or you should have gotten the debt validated first if it's with the collection agency, so you can't back out now that you know better. You just kind of keep rolling with it until you get through paying the account and then try to dispute the account and hope they don't fight, because they now have their money. All right, so the first thing you want to do is dispute with the credit bureaus first if you believe there's an error on the account. Now, you don't have to necessarily say what error you saw. When you know, like if you're looking at your credit reports, you notice maybe the date is off, the balance is off, the 30, 60, 90-day payment reporting is not being reported accurately, the balances, if I didn't say that already, are off on all 3 credit reports. Whatever errors that you find, you don't have to necessarily write them on your first letter. That would technically be like a factual dispute. And I'll put a factual dispute letter on the screen. But the first thing you want to do is initiate a dispute with the credit bureaus. Now, I found a sample letter on ftc.gov's website that y'all can use, and I'll just link below into my website. For those of you who are on the budget and don't really got it to be, you know, I'll give out free information over here. I ain't always trying to get in your pockets. Okay, so now that you've disputed with the credit bureaus, you know, what they're going to do is they're going to do their investigation. They're going to either contact the company, you know, and it's kind of hard to know whether or not they did. And I feel like you will know because some companies will mail you a letter and alert you that they've been notified that you're disputing the debt, or they'll call you or something, like they'll reach out to you or something, that somebody gonna come knocking on your door trying to serve you if it's within the statute of limitations. But the credit bureaus are going to initiate their dispute. So I wouldn't necessarily point out the errors first, just in case, because sometimes these credit bureaus will only update the information that we point out, which leads me to my next method, which is factual disputing. Now, you can dispute the errors on the account that you noticed. Like these are the errors that you were talking about in your initial disputes to the credit bureaus. When you say you noticed some disputes but you didn't point them out, now is the time that you could do so with your factual dispute. So let's say your Capital One debt is sold and it's charged off. And then Capital One typically sells to who? What, Jefferson Capital, I think? Okay, so let's say Capital One, the debt was charged off for $300, but Jefferson Capital is now reporting, and they're reporting a $300 balance. So now you have a charged off account reporting a $300 balance, and then this collection account reporting a $300 balance. So now you have 2 separate people trying to collect on the same debt. Not only does that's gonna do damage to your score from the account charging off, and then this new collection also. So now it looks like you owe both companies. Now, both companies cannot be reporting a balance. So that right there is something that you can dispute. Your dispute could be, after reviewing my credit report, I noticed that both Capital One and Jefferson Capital are both reporting $300, or saying that I owe them $300. Now, both of them cannot be collecting on the debt. So please delete this information from my credit report. Like, you could do that, you know, and sometimes it'll work where they will delete the account. Sometimes they'll contact Capital One, and then indeed Capital One will say, oh yeah, this debt was sold. So then Capital One will no longer be reporting the $300 balance. It will just zero out on Capital One, but that doesn't mean you don't owe them anymore. They're just responding to your dispute, because sometimes it doesn't always get a deletion, even though the law states sometimes it doesn't always get a deletion. So that was just an example of factual disputing. Next, settling the account. Now, I'm going to break this down in two ways, because you're either going to be settling the account directly with the creditor, because sometimes some of our charge-offs report just charge-off / written loss, but it doesn't get sold. And then some of us have charge-offs that says charge-off / collection, because it has been sold to a collection agency. And I don't know if it reports like that because that's actually right what I'm saying, but in my mind, that makes sense. So I'm just going to roll with it. But I'm pretty sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, anyway. So you want to settle with the creditor, okay? Now, with the original creditor, you can't necessarily send them a debt validation letter, because debt validation letters fall under the FDCPA, and that is for collection agencies only. So you don't send original creditors debt validation letters. Now, if this debt is still with the original creditor, it has not been sold, you, even if you found inaccuracies with the account, you still owe them the debt, okay? Now, you would send them a pay for deletion letter. Now, not all companies agree to pay for deletions. Not all companies honor pay for deletions. Some companies will honor your settlement and agrees to delete. Some will accept your settlement, but only will update your account as paid charged off, or paid settled for less, or something like that. Or some will just flat out not honor the request at all and just ignore you altogether, send you some paperwork in the mail or somebody to your house and sue you if the account is still within the statute of limitations. So don't ever just feel like you don't owe a charge off, or you've gotten off, like you don't have to pay unless the company has said to you, you're no longer responsible for this debt, you know, in the rare event that that happens. But let's say you do settle the account. Make sure you get it in writing before you just go paying them, because oftentimes people call or people just say, okay, well, I was told that they're going to delete the account, but then they get the money and then you like, okay, why you didn't delete it? And then you have no paperwork, you have no leverage. Now you've given them the money, you have nothing that they want anymore. They got what they want. So legally, they don't have to go back and delete the account. They don't have to do that. Like if it wasn't something y'all agreed on, you got it in writing, you know, they don't have to go remove this account from your credit report. So make sure you always get it in writing in the event that they do agree. Now, sometimes they won't agree, and that's where you have to make that grown-up decision on whether or not, you know, you're going to pay this account or you're going to let it ride and just let it fall off, which will more likely impact your score because they still could sell the debt to another collection agency, you know, if left unpaid long enough. You know, some companies will keep that debt in-house, some won't, you know, and it's hard to tell who will. I can kind of throw names out there just based off trends, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do that because I don't know if that's going to be the way 3 to 6 months from now when somebody watches this video. You know, I'm not sure if that's going to still apply. But if you are in the home buying process, you know, sometimes paying an account that's charged off will actually be more beneficial to you when you're in the home buying process, and maybe your lender has told you, like, in order to close, or, you know, or your realtor has said something to you. I'm not really sure how that goes, but maybe in that event, in that, you know, a situation like that, maybe having a paid charge off would be better for you. You know, even though paying a charge off account is still, you know, it's more or less impact on your score, but it still doesn't look good, you know? So it's just kind of a decision that you have to make on your own. I can't really say for you. You know your situation better than me. All I can say is just make sure you're rebuilding your credit while you're doing this whole process. Now, all right, you settle with this original creditor. Now, you may get a 1099-C in the mail. I believe it's 1099 cancellation in the mail. And basically what this will be is the difference from the amount that you owed and the amount that you settled for will now be considered taxable income that you'll have to file on your income taxes. So just know all of this information before going into paying an account, because an unpaid charge off can't be reported as taxable income on your credit report. You know, I believe that's correct. I read that somewhere. I'm not 100% accurate if that's true, you know, but I did read that. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Trust me. It'll be in the comments. Now, let's say the charge off account was sold to a collection agency. So now you have two companies to deal with. First, you want to send a debt validation letter to the collection agency. I will have that listed down below. It'll be under the freebies section on my website, but the link will be in the description box, or I'll pin it as a comment. So anyways, yeah, so you want to send them a debt validation letter first. Oftentimes the original creditor will alert you that this debt is now being sold to this company, like Credit One sells their debt to LVMV. So sometimes they will alert you that this account has charged off, and now LVMV funding is now the owners of this account. So address all correspondence or whatever to them. So send them a debt validation letter anyway, even if you do have that proof, just to use your rights. Like, you have a right to request validation. So let's say they do validate the debt. They send you back your contract with your signature. This is where you now want to settle the debt. You send them a pay for deletion letter. We're aiming to get them to settle for the account for less and delete the reporting off our credit report altogether, because a paid collection is no good. We don't want a paid collection. We want it completely off. Okay. Now, sometimes some companies don't honor pay for deletions, like I said before. So you have to weigh whether or not this paid collection, you have to just make a decision. Sometimes some companies are legally able to sue you, collection agencies as well. Just like we have rights, they have rights too, especially when things are accurately reporting. They have ownership of the account and it's still within the statute of limitations. So just know that, okay? This is not to scare you. This is just for you to know. So let's say they don't honor pay for deletions, but they do have the right to collect on the debt. Now, you could pay them and then go back and dispute the account afterwards with the credit bureaus, in hopes that the collection agency will not fight you and that they will just delete the account because they have their money. There's no need to honestly fight you at this point, but some companies won't budge. So just know that. Or you can also try sending them a goodwill letter. Goodwill letters aren't the end all be all. They're not the solution for everything, but it's worth a try. I mean, you've already paid the account. What you got to lose by sending a goodwill letter? You know what I mean? So it's worth a try. All right, so now you have this original creditor to deal with. Even if you did get the collection agency removed, or if you didn't, you still have the original creditor to deal with. Now, correctly verified as accurate charge-off are to stay on your credit report for 7 years. They are, like, that's law. But sometimes some companies are forgiving and will remove the debt if you pay the collection agency. Some companies are forgiving. You know, I've seen reviews. I've had personal experience. So I know that. But then some are not. Some companies are just like, no, no, and no. Look, it's the law. We have laws too. We're going to report this account. It's accurately reporting. Done deal. That's it. You know, and sometimes you just have to accept the fact that you have to pay your debt. Like, life happens. But sometimes these companies don't care about that because it's not really their responsibility to care about the things that happen in our lives. Otherwise, just imagine how many businesses would actually be functioning and thriving if every time a person had an issue, they gave them a refund. Just want to put that out there. So you could try to go back to the creditor and send them a goodwill letter, show them proof that you paid the collection agency, or you could just flat out try to dispute the account again with the credit bureaus. But ultimately, you know, if it's a true, accurately reporting account, it's not going to move. If there are no errors on the account, no inaccuracies, because ultimately that's what we're doing here. We're looking for inaccuracies. We're settling the debt in exchange for deletion. Or honestly, that's it. Like, you're using the law to your advantage, whether they fail to validate and then you're able to remove the the account that way, or you get the company to agree to delete the account. Or, what did I say last? Or you factually dispute the account and get the account removed. Like, that's honestly it. But it's more steps when there's like a company involved. Like, if you have two companies, then there's more steps. But you always want to look for inaccuracies first, regardless if you know it's your debt or not. You always want to be looking for inaccuracies. Always look for errors, because errors happen, mistakes happen. These are actual people putting information on our credit report. These are companies reporting the information. Just how sometimes your name will be misspelled, that could have been an error done on the company's part because they have to report that information. Now you have a misspelled name on your credit report, you know, and that could have very well been an error. You know what I mean? So always look for errors first. Essentially, that is how you get charge-offs removed, or at least attempt to get charge-offs removed. For my own personal situation, I always like to give examples because I don't know, sometimes you want to hear it from somebody else. But me personally, I had a Credit One account that charged off. I think it charged off in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. It was sold to LVNV. I sent LVNV a debt validation letter, okay? LVNV did validate the debt, but before I sent them that, I tried to go to Credit One and pay the debt now that I had the money to do so. They told me no. They sent me a letter in writing. I put it on the screen if I could find it, that LVNV was now the owners of the debt and to basically pay them. So I went ahead and paid LVNV because they agreed to delete, which they did delete within 7 days of me paying them. I don't know. That was before COVID, though, so I don't know how long or how slow it would take them now. How long or how slow? Lord have mercy. How long or how fast it would take them now to remove the account. But this is like before COVID when I paid. So anyways, I paid LVNV. They deleted the account. Now, prior to me paying, I sent Credit One so many pay for deletion letters, so many goodwill letters, and they declined all of them because they kept referring me back to LVNV. So finally, I paid LVNV. Then I went back and sent Credit One another goodwill letter, and I told them I paid LVNV. And then they finally sent me a letter back telling me that they deleted the trade line from my account, which they did. So I'm not going to say that this 100% will work every time, or if you do it, it will work for you. Some companies are more forgiving than others. And then also, deleting trade lines are in some companies' policy. So that could very well be why my account was deleted. You know, I don't know 100%. All I can do is kind of speculate and just assume that maybe that's why. But I wanted to tell you that method because it may work for you. I hope this video helped y'all. I hope it wasn't too long. But anyways, thank you guys so much for the support. And before I end this video, I do want to say that I hope you guys are doing well during this pandemic. I know I rarely ever really talk to y'all in the videos. I kind of just get straight to it. But definitely hope you guys are holding up mentally. I know some of us are losing it being in the house. Some of us, our anxiety are through the roof now. So I'm just really sending out prayers and lots of love and good vibes to those of you who are in a funk. I know in the beginning when I first found out about the pandemic, I was freaking out. I didn't want to leave the house. I got kids who get sick very easy. Somebody could sneeze, and next thing you know, they sneeze, and we could go outside and it's raining one day and it's cold the next thing you know, they're coughing and sneezing. So my anxiety was through the roof in the beginning, and it was just so much violence and things going on. So I was just paranoid and just freaking out and just like, Lord, is this the end? Like, I ain't ready. You know, I still got stuff to do. I still, you know, I still don't know if I figured out my purpose. Like, my mind was just all over the place. So I know if I'm freaking out, maybe there are people in the world who, you know, think the same way I do. But you know, I'm finally getting to a point now where I'm calm because I found a purpose and passion in YouTube and helping other people. So my mind isn't focused on the news because it's beyond my control anyway. You know, all I can do is mask up, keep my hands clean, because I'm lights on. Can't nobody come up in this mug without me. And I don't care. You sneezing, don't you come over here. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care. But yeah, I just wanted to send some good vibes out to y'all, and I hope y'all are doing well. Just continue to just, you know, just be happy. When you feel like you're about to explode and, you know, life is just so tough, whether it's credit repair related or relationships or finances, just breathe. I have a great day. I hope this video helped. Definitely give a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Love you guys. Peace out.